We found footprints. Then they just stopped. A true horror story inspired by real wilderness encounters. The footprints should have made us feel better. Instead, they became the reason I still wake up in the middle of the night, covered in sweat, staring at the darkness in my room. Because footprints mean someone was there. And if someone was there, where did they go? It happened 3 years ago during a camping trip in northern Montana. There were 4 of us. Me, my best friend Ethan, my cousin Jake, and Jake's girlfriend Sarah. We'd been planning the trip for months. The goal was simple: 3 days away from civilization. No phones, no internet, just mountains, forests, and campfires. The kind of adventure we always talked about but never actually took. At the time, it sounded perfect. Now I wish we'd stayed home. The first day was amazing. The weather was clear. The forest was beautiful. Tall pine trees stretched endlessly in every direction. The air smelled fresh and clean. For the first time in months, I felt genuinely relaxed. We spent the day hiking and exploring. By evening, we found a small clearing near a creek and set up camp. As the sun disappeared behind the mountains, we sat around the fire telling stories and laughing. Everything felt normal. Safe. Around midnight, Ethan suddenly stopped talking. His eyes were fixed on something beyond the firelight. "Did you hear that?" he asked. The laughter stopped. We listened. At first, nothing. Then, crunch. A branch snapping somewhere in the darkness. Jake shrugged. Probably a deer. I wanted to believe him, but something felt wrong. The sound had been heavy, deliberate, like a footstep. For the next few minutes, nobody spoke much. Every small sound seemed amplified. The darkness beyond the fire suddenly felt deeper than before. Eventually, we convinced ourselves it was nothing. Animals, wind, our imaginations. We went to sleep. I woke up just before sunrise. Something felt off. I couldn't explain it. The forest seemed quieter than yesterday. The air felt heavier, almost uncomfortable. I crawled out of my tent. That's when I saw them. Footprints. They were about 20 feet from camp, fresh, perfectly visible in the damp soil. Human footprints. Barefoot. My stomach tightened. "Ethan," I called. A few minutes later, everyone was standing around them. Nobody spoke. The prints were clear. An adult. Bare feet, walking slowly. Sarah looked confused. "Maybe another camper?" Jake shook his head immediately. "No way." The nearest campsite was miles away. Besides, who walks barefoot through a mountain forest full of rocks and pine needles? We followed the trail with our eyes. The footprints came from deeper in the woods, passed near our tents, then continued toward the creek. The unsettling realization hit me. Someone had been standing near our camp while we slept, watching us. Nobody laughed anymore. Jake grabbed a stick. "Let's see where they go." I don't know why we agreed. Maybe curiosity, maybe pride, maybe we just wanted an explanation. Whatever the reason, we started following the footprints. The forest seemed different that morning. Less welcoming, more hostile. Every tree looked taller. Every shadow darker. The footprints remained easy to follow. Whoever made them hadn't tried to hide their trail. That's what bothered me most. It almost felt intentional, like they wanted us to follow. For nearly 30 minutes we tracked them. The footprints crossed the creek, moved through thick brush, then entered a part of the forest that felt strangely untouched. No animal tracks, no birds, no sounds. Even Ethan noticed. "Why is it so quiet?" Nobody answered, because we were wondering the same thing. The silence felt wrong, like the entire forest was holding its breath. Then Sarah stopped walking. "Guys," she pointed ahead. The footprints were still moving forward, one after another, perfectly normal. Then suddenly, they stopped. Not faded, not covered, not lost. Stopped. The final footprint was pressed deeply into the dirt. And after that, nothing. No return tracks, no side tracks, no jump marks, nothing. Just one final footprint, then empty ground. A cold wave ran through my body. Jake looked around, confused. What the hell? We spread out searching, nothing. The dirt was soft enough to show every detail. If someone had walked away, we would have seen it. If they had run, we would have seen it. If they had climbed a tree, maybe. But there were no broken branches, no marks, nothing. It was as if whoever made those footprints had simply vanished. Nobody spoke for several seconds. Then Ethan laughed nervously. Okay, that's creepy. His laugh sounded forced, because we were all thinking the same thing. This wasn't normal. And then Sarah noticed something. Guys. She pointed upward. About 20 feet above us, carved into the trunk of a tree, were 3 words. Don't look up. The blood drained from my face. Who did that? Sarah whispered. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe instinct, maybe fear, maybe stupidity. But I looked up, and I immediately wished I hadn't. At first, I saw nothing, just branches, leaves, shadows. Then something moved. A shape, far above us. Watching. Human-sized. Perfectly still. My heart nearly stopped. Ethan. I whispered. He followed my gaze, and the color vanished from his face. What is that? The thing didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't react. It simply watched. Then it shifted, and disappeared deeper into the branches. The entire group panicked. We ran. Nobody questioned it. Nobody questioned it. Branches whipped against our faces. Our boots pounded against the ground. Fear pushed us forward. Eventually we reached camp, breathing hard, shaking. Jake immediately started packing. We're leaving. Nobody disagreed. Within 20 minutes, we were hiking back toward the trailhead. The forest felt different now. Every shadow looked alive. Every tree felt like it was hiding something. Halfway back, Ethan stopped. What now? Jake snapped. Ethan pointed behind us. My stomach dropped. There were footprints again, fresh. Following us. One after another. The same size, the same shape. Keeping pace. Sarah started crying. No. Because these weren't old footprints. They were appearing behind us, as if someone invisible was walking the trail. Step by step, watching us, following us. We ran again. Hours later, we finally reached the parking area. Our truck was exactly where we'd left it. For the first time all day, I felt relief. We threw our gear inside. Jake started the engine. Then Ethan froze. His eyes locked on the rearview mirror. What? I asked. He didn't answer. Slowly, he pointed toward the tree line. Standing between 2 pines was a figure, tall, thin, watching us, too far away to identify, too still to be normal. Nobody spoke. Jake slammed the truck into gear. We left. Fast. And for a while, we convinced ourselves it was over. Until 2 weeks later. I was going through photos from the trip, trying to forget what happened. Trying to convince myself there had to be a rational explanation. Then I found a picture I didn't remember taking. It showed the spot where the footprints ended. At first glance, everything looked normal. Then I zoomed in, and my heart stopped. There was someone standing behind us. Not in front, not beside us. Behind us. Watching. The strange part, none of us remembered seeing them. The worst part? The figure wasn't standing on the ground. It was several feet above it, as if suspended in the air. I showed the photo to Ethan. He stared at it for nearly a minute, then quietly said something I'll never forget. Delete it. What? Delete it. Why? Because his face had turned completely pale. And then he whispered, "Look at the footprints." I zoomed in further. My hands began shaking, because the footprints in the photo didn't belong to the figure. They belonged to us. The figure hadn't left any tracks at all. And somehow, that terrified me even more. To this day, none of us talk about that trip. Sarah refuses to discuss it. Jake sold all his camping equipment. Ethan moved across the country. And me? I still think about those footprints. The ones that ended in the middle of nowhere. The ones that shouldn't have existed. The ones that led us to something waiting in the trees. Sometimes, late at night, I zoom into that photo again, searching for answers, looking for something I missed. Last month, I noticed something new. Something I wish I hadn't. The figure in the background is closer now. Not much, just a little. But close enough that I can tell one thing for certain. It's smiling. To be continued.